Yeah, hello everyone. Thanks for the invitation. My name is Daniel. I'm one of the co-founders of Conda. And I'm here to just present you quickly what we're doing in the last 6 years and what we've done and what our plans are in the future. So, let's start at the beginning. I'm an entrepreneur for more than 10 years, and if you ask, yes, that's a tattoo. So that's commitment. I would say it's out of a bet with my co-founder. We lost the bet, we got both tattooed. So I'm doing Conda for more than 6.5 years. We started in Austria, Vienna, with like a pretty basic vision. The basic vision of Conda was to bring crowd investing on a broad range to Austria. And when we started, we had a basic idea. The basic idea was to make it possible for everyone in Austria to invest in startups starting at 100 euros. That was the basic idea. There was a lot of struggle back then, so there was no support from government. When we applied there for getting a license, it was pretty hard because they said, yeah, you can start, and then we're gonna tell you if you did it right. If not, you're gonna get sued. So that was pretty fun. So we had like 9 months of application process to get our platform ready, but we ended up on starting Conda. And since then, a lot have happened. When we started, we were focusing on 2 main things. We were focusing on crowd investing. So what we don't do any crowdfunding like Kickstarter or Indiegogo is doing. We do the difficult stuff, which is highly regulated, highly complex, and where you have to be aware of all these banking laws and these security laws, and you have to do KYC and all those funny things. So we decided to do that. We started mainly focusing on equity-based, so that was the reason, because we were focusing on startups. So startups was our main focus group at the very beginning. Then a lot of stuff changed based on legislation, and we ended up financing startups, small and medium enterprises, and real estate. Since then, we raised almost 30 million euros for startups, small and medium enterprises, and real estate companies. We have more than 30,000 investors on our platform. We have done more than 100 funding rounds for startups and SMEs. So we've proven that there is a high demand on those new sources for capital. And what we've also proven is that people like to invest into those companies. So our average investment into one company is about 1,200 euros, and people invest in at least 2 companies a year. So what we've showed is that there is a demand from a startup and company side, but there's also demand from an investor side. And if we look on interests, the last year we had 1 exit from a startup. The average interest after 2 years, what they did on profit was 44% on their invested capital after 2.5 years. So we've also proven that you can earn money with investing in startups. One of our most successful companies was, we did a fundraising for Vienna's most famous club, soccer club, SK Rapid. They built a complete new soccer stadium, and they raised 3 million euros within 5 weeks for the reconstruction of their soccer stadium. In total, the whole project was about 40 million, and 3 million euros got just by the crowd invested. If you're wondering what else we managed to finance and what amounts of money we did, so you only see here some SME projects, so only small and medium enterprises. There is another soccer club, Austria-Vienna. They raised 1.5 million euros in just 20 hours through our platform. And you see that 640 investors invested into that company. There is a tech company from Vienna which raised 700,000 euros. There is a hotel group of Hermann Mayer. Who knows Hermann Mayer? Ski racer? Yeah, he's now an entrepreneur, and he is doing a hotel chain, and they ended up raising 1.2 million euros for their hotel chain. Or Ökostrom, they're producing ecological power, and also they raised 1.1 million euros through the platform. So what you see, and I think that's super important if we talk about what's necessary or what we're going to do in Serbia as well, is that there's a high demand from a startup side, from an SME side, and there's a huge potential for the whole economy to kind of take a next step. From a startup side, we also did hundreds of campaigns there. What always works is beer. So if you have a local brewery which is searching for money, come to me. That always works from an investor's point of view. That's a Munich brewery, but there is, for example, the Wohnwagon. This was our very first project. They ended up doing 2 fundraising campaigns on our platform, totally raising about 500,000 euros. And they started as a startup with 2 employees, and now they are 28 people doing a yearly revenue of about 6 million euros. And the only thing what they used on financing was crowd investing and loans from the bank, and that's all. And I think that's a good example on what impact crowd investing could have. I want to show you another thing, and I think that's important because, as I've seen, there also have a lot of bankers here. And when we started 6 years ago, there was like, how should I say, kind of fear that crowdfunding and crowd investing is substituting banks. Honestly, that's bullshit. Won't work, sorry. But what it adds to the whole ecosystem, it adds a leverage. And if you look on that, this is the hotel chain. They ended up raising 1.2 million euros. And with 1.2 million euros, they managed to raise additional 500,000 euros by equity investors. They got 2 different public grants. Come on. 2 different public grants and a loan by a tourism bank and a loan by a normal Austrian bank. So they ended up raising 1.2 million euros through the platform, but they leveraged up to 8 million euros through other sources because they managed to optimize their equity ratio, and so they were able to get banking money. So, few words about Austria. We managed to get a crowdfunding law in Austria, which is pretty interesting because they regulated 3 parts. They regulated if you raise money by crowd investing, you have to at least provide some standardized information. If you raise less than 2 million, it's just a 2-pager. If you raise more than 2 million euros, it's a prospectus light, which is like a financial market prospectus, but a short version. And if you want to raise more than 5 million, it's a full prospectus, which is highly complex. The main thing is, they ended up on standardizing those things. And now all platforms in Austria have to do it. On the other hand side, they also regulated the investments. So per investor, per project, per year, investors are allowed to invest 5,000 euros. If you want to invest more, you do like a self-declaration that you are wealthy. And if you do that self-declaration, you can invest more. And the third thing what they did is they created a platform license in Austria where we as a platform had to apply, and if you manage to get that, you're allowed to do crowd investing. Why is this important? Because this got introduced in 2015. Before 2015, Austria was a wild desert. Everyone was able to do what he wanted. After getting the regulation in place in September 2015, only in the last quarter of 2015, 8 million euros got raised. In the 3 quarters before, 4 million euros. And you see how those things scaled up. We're now in 2017 up to close to 33 million euros, 2018, 45, and growing year by year. So we see, and what we've seen is, having regulation is not always a bad thing. It could be also an enabler to get more serious people, more serious investments into that field. And I think that's super important and something which is pretty interesting, how Austria used that as a blueprint. What we are currently in 7 countries in Europe. As already mentioned, we are currently preparing our launch in Serbia together with the guys of BDO Serbia. So our aim is in autumn that the platform is going to be online and that we can finance the first companies. So for sure, if you're an entrepreneur searching for money, please come to me. If you have money, also come to me. If you have both, perfect. I'm gonna marry you. That's where we are. We're gonna expand further. So our plan is to really do that on a European and global scale. But what we've seen in the past is I'll skip that because I'm losing time. But what we see is that, as also some guys before said, decentralization is coming. The stuff of blockchain is moving into the whole financial sector. So suddenly what happened is that people started approaching us, hey, can we use your technology to do our own platform? So what we created is kind of a standard, a white label platform standard, where also others can use our technology. And what we created below is a central standard infrastructure where we can do all of those different platforms on the same technology. You can do co-fundings in different countries on different platforms, and it gets more and more specific, more and more decentralized. Why is this interesting? Because when you listened before, blockchain is kind of a key part of decentralization, and we also started digging into that field 2 years ago. And what we believe is that this capital market nowadays, where you have a lot of intermediaries, which everyone wants to earn something, right? And that's why the old school capital market isn't feasible for small and medium enterprises, because you can get in there if you want to raise 15, 20 million euros. But if you want to raise just 2 million euros, that's impossible. But what we believe in, moving into a decentralized capital market based on blockchain technology, will enable small and medium enterprises, startups, to create a completely new way of fundraising. And what we did already is we did several security and equity token offerings. So what we did is we combined blockchain technology and we combined existing financial products to get the best of both worlds. So existing financial products, there is regulation out there what we can use. So we use the European securities regime. Everything is regulated. You get an approval by the Financial Market Authority, and then you can start fundraising. The blockchain technology adds some values. So what it adds is transparency. It adds decrease of costs. It adds a lot of possibilities to transfer those securities. So a lot of things are adding to that field. And what we ended up as a first proof of concept is we did the first ever tokenization of a stock company in Europe. So if you look that up, you can just go on etherscan.io, type in Conda AG equity token, and you will see there a stock company completely tokenized. So one token here, where you see token supply, blah, 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 one token equals one share. And you can look up our shareholder structure here. Well, there are stupid numbers because these are wallets, but behind the wallets, there are our shareholders. And this is all done on the blockchain, fully transparent. You can follow all transactions. And for example, if you want to buy 10 shares, the only thing I need is your wallet. I transfer the shares, done. No intermediaries needed, just that. So we did that, and what we're currently doing, we do 2 more security token offerings right now. So one venture loan and one revenue share, all under the European regime. We truly believe that this is going to be the future of the financial market, and we think that this is kind of crowd investing 2.0. This will take some time, but we really believe that this is going to change the whole financial market industry. And I only have 10 seconds left, so thanks a lot. Ping me, talk to me later. Thank you.